Welcome to another episode of the No Ceilings Podcast. I am Tyler Metcalf, joined, as always, by Tyler Rucker. Rucker, how are we doing?
I'm breathing. I am breathing. I have been a dark place, but we're going to be okay, folks. And the reason why we're going to be okay is because we get to talk basketball tonight. And Tyler Metcalf's here, and it's draft season's officially open for business. So we're going to be okay. How are you doing, Metcalf?
Oh, it's been a week, but you know what? We got college basketball back. And you know what? Hot take. We have an obnoxious amount of college basketball back. Whose idea was it to have every goddamn team in the country play on day one? You can't watch that.
It was pretty vicious. Well, also,
it's like, oh, hey, welcome back. Are you already behind?
I'm trying to target when those yes, we're all box score watching. I'm trying to just target who's got a game that I want to watch on my, who am I moving up on the film watch a little early just because I'm intrigued. And half of the big companies box score stuff was wrong, not working. Half the games had a box score. So that made it pretty frustrating. So, yeah, a lot of games that first night. It's very difficult. You had to take some Tylenol to get through it and find who you wanted to. At the end of the night, I was like, oh, I forgot about blah, blah, blah. I forgot, just a nightmare, but also a great nightmare. Because basketball's fun. Back.
Right. It was great to have back. Who needed free time throughout the day. We got a fun one today. Mock draft. First one. To be clear, this is our mock draft. This is the Tyler's mock draft. Not the No Ceilings official composite mock draft. That will be coming in the next couple of weeks. So it's just us two idiots going back and forth tonight with our likes, dislikes, first week reactions, expectations, all that good stuff. We're going to get into it all. And then we're going to wrap it up with opening up the Green Room, America's most exclusive club.
I'm so back now. Thank you for saying that. I really needed that in my life. So yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. So I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to take the first pick here. Really going out on a limb.
So wait a sec. Hold on. Let me pump the brakes. Okay. So you talked about this before. I need to preface it. The order in the NBA right now is ridiculous.
Correct.
Usually every time me and you do a mock on the pod, it's with teams and stuff. We're kind of doing a mock big board, right? A board mock.
Yeah, we're drafting in a vacuum. So we're
a mock board.
We're removing team context.
Yes. Or else we'd have playoff teams picking right now.
As of recording this, the Milwaukee Bucks would have the first pick, which would be sent to the New Orleans Pelicans, which congratulations, New Orleans. I'm sure the NBA would be thrilled about that. But the Bucks are also playing the Jazz at time of recording, so they may skyrocket up these standings. We're 6-7 games into the NBA season. Doesn't make sense to do rankings. We'll do them in the future, or to do actual teams. We'll do those in the future once things get a little clearer, and we can have a little more fun with it. But we're just going to be doing 1 through 30 in a vacuum.
So you're going to be bold and take number 1.
Yeah. So typically I'm a gentleman and I allow you the first pick, but not tonight. So I'm kind of curious to see what you do at 2. I think I know where you're going, but I'm curious. So number 1, Cooper Flagg, easiest pick of the night. Looks support, makes everyone else on the floor better, does a little bit of everything at an elite level. Huge fan.
Yeah, there's a high, huge fan. Hot take. There's a very high chance we're talking about Cooper Flagg very often this year because of what he does on the basketball court, because of the hype, because of the special gifts he's got. So yeah, that's a pretty easy one so far. And everyone's gonna. It's funny. I can't wait for the doubters to just be like, "Why?"
That'll be fun. It's all going to be about the shooting.
Yeah, and people
can he get a bucket? Is he a real hooper?
People are gonna be like, "Hey, I need the blow up game. I need the 30-point, 15 rebound," and I'm like, "Well, that's gonna happen.
He'll have a couple, but it won't be the norm.
He's not that's not his game. His game is 18, 12, 4, 5, 2. He's just a machine. So good one, pretty good. I'll make this quick. 2, I'm going upside swing. I'm swinging for some of the highest upside in this class. I'm gonna go Ace Bailey.
Okay.
Yep.
Unfortunately, hurt out injured.
Unfortunately hurt.
Did you see a timeline on that? I did not.
I did not. Kept it a little quiet. I think they're being safe, which is fine. Good time of the year to be safe. Don't need to try to force your second freshman phenom out there against the opening matchups. I think he's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Now, if we get a injury report tomorrow and he's out for like a month, I'm gonna be like, oh no. But I think we're gonna be fine. Or you can't hide that stuff that much.
No. So there have been some rumblings about anonymous scouts, my favorite people in the world.
Yeah.
Anonymous scouts saying that Ace Bailey, they think he could really challenge Cooper and potentially be that number one pick. How much do you buy that?
Oh, I don't. Everything would have to go right. He'd have to be shooting it at a high clip. He'd have to be really showing some leaps forward in areas that I think we're a little concerned about. Just, we're nitpicking in the preseason. We have, I'd like to see his handle get a little better. I think he gets loose with it. I think the shot selection, like everyone, can be questionable at times. I don't think it's as bad as some people think out there, but I think
Agreed.
it can get a little forced. And like we say, a 6'10 shot or a guy shooting it at 6'10 looks a lot tougher sometimes than you realize. I think there's a world now. I think a team could fall in love because of how crazy his upside and potential is, but I still think Cooper's got a pretty heavy lead in Vegas right now. If we were talking betting odds, do you think the same?
Yeah, I would be pretty shocked if Ace
He'd have
ends
to
up
go
being the
like,
number one pick.
yeah,
Now, if 10 years from now, when we're talking about who the overall better player is,
there
I
you
don't
go.
think I don't think it would be totally shocking if Ace emerged as that better player. Do I think it's likely or the most likely outcome? Maybe not, but is it, is there a non-zero chance? Yeah, because he is that skilled. If the playmaking develops just a little bit, if the defense gets a little more consistent, which I think it will as he starts moving more and more towards defending on the perimeter more consistently and works out some of those bad habits. Like you said, if the handle continues to tighten up, which I expect it will, there's a real road for him emerging as one of the premier wing scorers in the NBA. So I think that's kind of more of the interesting conversation for me of what is the likelihood and potential of him being the best player from this draft 10 years from now, rather than who's going to be the first pick.
I agree. I think there's a world in which we could be down the road talking about Ace Bailey as a league MVP. A lot of stuff has to go right. A lot of stuff has to go right. But, I see all NBA teams and all defensive teams for Cooper in the future. I think Ace just has a crazy stratosphere that he could reach. It's going to take some time to get there, but the potential is that special.
Agreed. And speaking of potential, with the third pick, I'm going with the man of the hour, the breakout, everyone's favorite prospect of the week. I'm going Yegor Demin from BYU.
Hard not to be in love. Hard not to be in love. You look fucking good.
He looks fucking incredible.
Great. I'm the biggest. Oh, everyone likes him. I'm not gonna just like him because everyone likes him. But I watched that today, and my lord, it's just a different speed right now. Now, yes,
Yeah.
What was he playing? Central Arkansas.
Yeah.
Shout out Central Arkansas, but you look good.
Yeah,
and
let's see how it looks against Arizona.
Yeah.
Maybe we're telling a different story, but
we're not the only ones. I got a couple texts today from the league. A lot of fans. Was the first name to bring up, and I didn't even bring up like, hey, who do you like? It was like, hey, how about the men? It's just like, all right, everyone's on the trail right now.
And to be clear, this is not just in reaction to one game against Central Arkansas. This is him immediately proving what we hoped we would see when he came over from Real Madrid. So, going forward, what can we learn from this? 6'7" toolsy skilled wing forward, point guard prospects who come over from Real Madrid. really good chance they're going to be good.
Really, really good. Really, really good
So,
chance.
and he was in my top 10 coming into the year. But that just it that game, what that game showed me was how slow the game is for him, how effortlessly he reads every inch of that floor, and how easily he can manipulate the defense. Some of those kickouts he had were just made me like stand up and take a lap around the room because I needed to calm down. The playmaking was absurd. The shot looked really good. The defensive playmaking looked fantastic. It all felt very, very, very real. So while I myself and many, many others had him top 10, top 15 at the lowest, um, that game just kind of solidified and kind of made me push him up into that second tier with Ace and Dylan.
I had him at 7. I was very excited about him at 7. I said I have a feeling this is going to be one that I'm moving up a little bit. Did not think it was going to be moving up this quick, but
Yeah.
the speed was very obvious, and I'm talking about exactly what you're pointing out, like the control, and it looked like things were slow to him. He gonna get pressured to hell when he plays these big teams. The people are gonna send the dogs at him, so that's what I want to see. But man, he's listed. If he's listed at 6'7", he looks big out there.
Yeah.
He's big. He's stocky. So like good length, good fluidity. He could have had 15, 16 assists in that game.
Yeah.
Like he threw some guys, they just missed shots. Like it just was ridiculous. So
I think Fran Fraschilla, I believe it was him who tweeted out how he kind of counts and records quality
virtual
passes.
assists.
Virtual, yeah. So it's basically
I loved it.
Assists plus hockey assists plus potential assists, or basically passes that lead to good looks. And his count was like 30.
Do we keep track of hockey assists? I'll be the idiot. I don't care anymore.
I believe NBA stats or NBA.com/stats or whatever. The NBA does.
They started doing it because I feel
Yeah.
like I saw one year someone out of nowhere was like, "Oh, blah blah blah, this many hockey assists." And I was like, "We're finally doing this."
Yeah.
But the virtual assists, I love that. It's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Shout out
sure
Fran.
NBA stats has hockey and potential assists on there. I don't think I would be shocked if the NCAA does.
Well, because Europe, you get maybe it's just shout out synergy. Every time I'm trying to watch like assists in a game, it's like if someone just gets fouled, and it's just always like, well, they didn't make it. Like it just drives me crazy, but I also love it at the same time. Yeah, he looked great. No notes. He just looked great.
Last thing. What do you want to see from him going forward? Or what questions are remaining?
I think when you get, he's gonna. I want to see what he does against some heavy on ball pressure. Mm-hmm. I think what I like about. I love when the big names have success right out of the gate, because I also know when you start to get to these schools that have these coaches alternate, who's got the scout. You're getting watched early, so they're trying to find your weakness 2 or 3 games ahead, and then. You're trying to pick apart film. Film's coming in on him. So
yeah,
they're going to be like, hey, what does he struggle with? And all it takes is one game for an assistant coach to see something and be like, hey, all right. So I want to see just kind of how he keeps handling pressure. When he starts facing, Arizona's going to play them. I think him and KJ Lewis is going to be a hell of a battle. Just KJ is going to be, he's going to be shorter, but he's going to be a pit bull. VJ maybe will guard him, but still he's probably getting way more size. Just how he handles those elite on-ball pressure guys. Houston, when they play Houston,
yeah,
that's going to tell me a lot. Because I think he's a top 4, top 5 guy right now. Pretty easily.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, moving on. Pick number 4. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Dylan Harper. Let's just keep this short. I'd be ecstatic to get him at 4.
Yes.
Okay, so right now I would get it. I would understand. What did you think?
He's just good. I know it sounds reductive, but he's just really good. Their first game, Ace was obviously out. He only had 4 assists, but I thought that his playmaking, the versatility of it, the vision, the creativity, the way he manipulated defenders was all really high level stuff and exactly what you want to see from him at this stage and continuing to build on it. The defense, it continues to be one of my favorite skills of his. The scoring versatility, I think there are going to be some questions with the outside shot all year, but long term, I'm not really concerned about it because I think he has good touch. I think he's really comfortable and versatile in the mid range. It's just about continuing to get stronger and more comfortable with it. 25 feet from the rim instead of 15. So I would be absolutely shocked if he falls anywhere outside the top 5, let alone the top 4 this year.
The defense keeps getting me very excited. The more I see of it, it's even better. He just does a lot of stuff on the court with his frame. He's around 6'6", probably 215. Looks bigger.
Yeah.
And
it's a thick, solid 215.
He's 215, and I'm like, sure, not 230. Like he's just huge, and he just glides and gets places super fast, and it just kind of, you're expecting it to impress you, but it still leaves you impressed. Like he had that one of those steals last night where he got on a fast break, and I had someone on the side of him. I was like, oh, it's gonna be right at the rim, and then just found another gear and like flew and through the air for an easy. I was like, got some separation in the air right there. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seems to like defy science and everything we know. But he's awesome. I absolutely love Harper. I think he's going to be a stud. The top 4 right now, if I'm overreacting, Metcalf is going to be even more of a bar fight with the guys we just listed.
If I would have gone Dylan at 3, who would you have gone with at 4?
Same. I would have gone
Yegor.
Yegor.
You're in your head.
I'm in my head. For everyone listening, we practiced the name about 5 times before we recorded. I think each, and I got stage fright there.
You passed dress rehearsal, but God.
Yegor. We're practicing, folks. Trying to get better about that. Yegor, I would have taken it for pretty easily.
Okay. Cool. We've talked about Dylan a bunch the last couple episodes. We're going to talk about him all year. Moving on to the 5th pick. Still going to go with someone we've talked about a bunch all summer, and this was about the worst I've seen him play in the last year. But I'm still going VJ Edgecombe, shooting guard from Baylor at 5.
Tough opener. That whole team got thrown into a buzzsaw. And then just were like, get us out of here as fast as possible. He looked rough. I'm not worried. You?
Define worried.
I'm not overly concerned that he's going to be like that the whole year.
Yeah. Yes. I don't think he's going to.
I think there's a chance that's the worst game he plays all year.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Big chance.
I do worry a little bit about his translation to the NBA and what position he's going to play. Because the handle is rough, mainly with his left hand. He had at least 2 turnovers where like the second he went to his left hand, just lost the ball. He didn't shoot it well in that game, but I'm not worried about the shot. He shot the crap out of it, and during Olympic qualifying at Hoop Summit, I'm not worried about the shot. But I'm worried about his size in terms of, height. I think he'll fill out. I think he'll get strong. He's explosive as all hell. We saw him go on that, or put Mark Few's son on a poster. RIP to him. Bummer for him. But I'm just worried of, can he transition more to a point guard? Because there have been flashes of like connective passing and hints that he could continue to kind of grow and emerge as a playmaker. But man, being a competent passer and facilitator in college compared to the NBA, 2 completely different worlds. So I'm just not totally convinced that he's big enough to be a 2 and a good enough and consistent enough, like big time shooter to kind of play that role. And I'm a little worried that he's not quite skilled enough and creative enough to be a point. So he's just kind of caught in that no man's land for me right now.
Okay, like, let me bring you back. I think the handle is definitely going to be a work in progress throughout the year. It's the first time I've seen him just like look completely physically overmatched, which is really strange from the Olympics because it just didn't seem. There's just those games where a team gets punched in the mouth early, and I feel like it's a ripple effect with everyone where you kind of look around, you're like, can anyone kind of figure this out? And they just had nothing going.
That was the
Guys
worst
were
I've
wide
seen
open.
Baylor's defense in a long time. They were horrific.
They had guys wide open. They were throwing passes 10 feet above them out of bounds. Like, it was just gosh, get this one over quick.
Yeah.
And Gonzaga was cooking and looked fantastic.
Yeah.
But for VJ, it just was like the beginning of the game. I was just kind of like, why is he just looked timid and nervous. And then all of a sudden it was like the handle, a turnover. I was like, oh, he just is in a torture chamber right now. I think he'll bounce back. I think he'll be fine. He also started the game with like the super baggy long sleeves. And I was like, that's a very bold move. I've never seen that. I think he'll be fine. But it's definitely one you keep an eye on. You watch it. You probably make a mental note of it. And you're like, I don't want to have to go back to that game. So I hope things kind of turn around. But
yeah, bad news. Not great. Plain awful in a big time showcase debut. Good news, it can only get better, hopefully.
Well, you take it this, you could take it this way. Last year, Jacoby Walter, the first game, we were like, oh my gosh, Jacoby Walter is going to be a potential number one pick. And look how that went out. So patience. We all need
I know.
patience.
I still have him at 6. I just took him 5th overall. It's not like I'm freaking out. It's just
I moved him down to my second round.
A lot
What are
of
you
the
talking
questions, a lot of the questions, we had mentioned in like previous episodes, even kind of popped up in a big way. So it's like, oh, let's tighten all that up.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our first ad break, and we'll be back with the rest of the first round shortly. Okay, Rucker. So moving on to pick 6 with the top 5, we went Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey at 2, Yegor Demon at 3, Dylan Harper at 4, VJ Edgecombe at 5. Who are you going with pick number 6?
Man, this is a little tricky one. Who would I actually go with? A lot of names here that I actually really like a lot. Do I be bold? Do I go away? No, you know what? I'm gonna go with Nolan Traore, St. Quentin.
Okay.
Also known as France. What are your thoughts? Talk to me about Nolan.
I think he's been very good for the most part this year. He's looked a little smaller out there than I was anticipating. The shots looked solid. I like the versatility in it. He is incredibly fast. And he's gained downhill a ton. I really like the on-ball defense. But again, we go back to the size, and it's like, okay, thinking about this in an NBA context, are you going to get picked on? Probably, just because he's not, a 6'5" point guard, but he is really quick. He has good hands. So, that helps cover up some of the warts. The playmaking is really frustrating for me because there'll be games where he's trying to be really anticipatory and pass guys open and manipulate the defense, and he just can't quite do it yet. And those are typically the games where he racks up 5 to 8 turnovers, and it's like, oh, yikes. And then the very next game, he'll be a little more patient, wait for a guy to come open, and then, deliver an accurate pass where it's like, okay, cool. You had 7 assists and 1 turnover, much better in terms of playmaking efficiency. But again, NBA context, those windows are incredibly small. They're a lot smaller. You have to see that guy and be making that pass 2 to 3 steps before you're currently making it. So it's like, all right, let's see how this looks in January and February and how it develops throughout the year. And if it starts getting better, fantastic. If it doesn't, then it's like, you might not be as quite high level of a playmaker as I hoped for. Still really good passer, accurate, sees the floor well. It's just needing to speed up that process. And like when we were talking about Yegor and how slow it is for him right now, and how or at least in that first game, and how he was anticipating everything and passing guys open, I have yet to see Nolan consistently do that.
I understand what you're saying. With him, it's one of those like, man, there when things look good. Now everyone will be like, hey, you could say this about a lot of guys, but especially with Nolan, you'll look at him when he's in a groove, easy top 5 pick. Easy top 5 pick. When he's cooking and everything, easy. Now there's other times when he's struggling. You're like, man, it's all right, but I'd like to get him probably in the late lottery or something. But I think I came into this year saying I'm going to have to be as patient as possible with Nolan because I need to see the growth throughout the year. I need to see what develops, what comes around. The playmaking, like you're saying, when we saw it at Hoop Summit, I thought he looked solid all week. I didn't think he like overly popped. And then the game, I was like, where was this guy been? And it was just, I was like, okay, if I get in this, and then everyone's raving about like, hey, he's one of the best floor generals I've played with. Like his teammates were saying that. If you're getting that guy from the game, easy top 5 pick.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, is it youth? Is it experience? Is there, with time, are those paths going to merge and we're going to get more consistency? That's what I want to see from him because I like a lot of the tools. I like how composed he can be at times. I like how his shot looks. I like a lot of stuff, but I also know with young guards, like he's going to be turning 19 a month before the draft. I like his frame to fill out. If he's actually 6'3", fantastic. If he's 6'4", tremendous. I don't know. Would you say he's taller than VJ? Gosh, I wish we looked closely at this in Portland.
No. If anything, I would say VJ probably might have like half an inch on him. They're very close.
Oh, I should have sent that text. That's fine. Uh-oh. Remind me to send that tomorrow. I'll get an answer from a good source. Yeah. I don't know. I like him a lot.
If I say Dennis Schroeder, how does that make you feel?
Not as probably big of a slap in the face as you think. Are we talking like how many years has Dennis Schroeder been playing in the NBA and also got back to the NBA? Dennis Schroeder's made a heck of a career.
He has.
And made a lot of change. Should have signed that extension with the Lakers, but I also love that he didn't and went to
Schroeder's also only 6'1", so
yeah.
Nolan has, another inch or so. But he's been in the league 11 years.
I mean, come on. If you tell me he's playing 11 years, I'm going to be pretty pumped about that right now. But
so I'm not saying 1-for-1 comp there, but stylistically, I think they're not totally dissimilar.
Yeah, I get it. I think we're 6'2", 6'3" for point guard, still good size.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching Peyton Pritchard serve people in Boston, and he's no giant. Come on.
Well, context matters, as we always say. Okay,
right, you're up.
Moving on to pick 7. Okay, so I'm going to go down my board just a little bit.
Whoa. No, you're not going to do it this early.
What?
Go ahead.
Oh, wait. Oh, do I? Okay, never mind. I'm going back up. I missed a name. I'm going Con Knipple.
I was going to take Con at 6.
I think I would have taken him at 6 too.
I think he probably could have talked to me about him at 5. I don't.
We talked about him a ton the other episode. I don't think we have to.
He looks fantastic. He just continues to look fantastic.
Insane shooter. When you run him off the line, he's just as good. Just a terrifying off-ball scorer to have to deal with because there's a mid-range game there. There's passing. He moves his feet really well on defense. Not a freak athlete, but better than he'll get credit for. Cool. Easy enough. Moving on. Number 8. Who are you going with?
Shout out Dirty Dancer in the chat for the comment
Boom.
about, the height stuff. I remember Portland, we had some
Rewind the tape. Exactly what I
some
said.
tough ones.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Shout out my memory.
You probably were reading
Killing
the
it.
comments before I did.
How dare you?
Con. So we're at 8.
Correct.
Bold or not? Do I go bold or not? No,
Go with your heart.
Okay. Going with my heart. I'm going with my heart because it's November. I like that. Go with your heart. It's November. We might need to print that on something. Fine. I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to take Asa Newell.
That's what I was thinking of.
There you go, baby. I'm in love.
Yeah.
I'm in love. Like, it's fantastic.
So
I've been in love since the summer. It's fantastic. It's off to a great start. Stock is booming.
Yeah.
Everyone's buying real
place.
estate on this island. It's fantastic. The market's never been hotter. What do you like?
What don't I like? Okay, so and that's about as good of and efficient of a game as he could have possibly had.
Yeah.
I'm curious what it looks like when literally everything isn't working and clicking at the same time. That Georgia team struggled a little more than I thought they would, but I think guys like Blue Kane will start finding their shot. But his cutting, his pick and roll finishing, knocked down a 3 or 2. It looked smooth. The defense, and he continues to just be a monster on the boards. And if you're getting a power forward who rebounds like that, sign me up every day of the week, because you can also have him switch out on the perimeter and guard nearly everyone because his footwork is so good. He plays with physicality, even though he's not the biggest guy. He's not a 5. If I'm sure he'll get some minutes at the 5 throughout this college season based on matchup and that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But in the NBA, he is not a 5 unless teams go incredibly small.
Incredibly small. He's 6'10".
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get a 6'10" lengthy floor spacer who
There's
rebounds the ball.
6'10" small forwards and shooting guards in the league.
Yeah,
now.
but if you go small ball with him and he can be your 5 space in the floor, obviously you just need to have like a good 4 that can help.
And the shot has to get to a very real level for me to be.
Yeah, it would be this isn't what we're doing all the time, but this is a wrinkle we can throw out there. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sure.
Go ahead.
But for me, we've always had the conversation, or not we, the collective we,
the royal we,
the royal we has always had the conversation of, oh, is Wemby a 4 or is he a 5? Is Chet a 4 or is he a 5? Where in my mind, those guys are very clearly 5s. Can they play the 4 sometimes, depending? Sure. But those guys are centers. And I'm that way, but as a power forward with Asa. Love the cutting, love the off-ball play finishing. But at his, physical size, where he is still pretty slender, to be rebounding consistently at this insane of a level is really, really encouraging.
Yeah. I sort of lean that, like, when you get in that inner debate, it's like, are you overthinking? Can he just be a big down there? Like, can he be one of the 2 positions? Okay, fine. You'll be fine. At the end of the day, will he end up playing? Some team will run some small ball 5 with him for spurts, and then all of a sudden the other team will put in a big, and then his team will sub in a big too. I just think he's a versatile asset down there that he checks so many damn boxes so quick. He's got a high motor. He's got defensive potential. He's got shot blocking ability. He's got a great shot that looks like it's developing in the right direction to really be a.
Yeah, and
when we talk about
these
bigs, yes, and we talk about these bigs all the time of like, well, it looks like it could. No, this legitly seems like it is about to become like a, hey, you can't just sag off of me from out there. So I like a lot of stuff. And
once that kind of comes into fruition, how does he react to getting run off the line? Because we really haven't seen that in his game yet. because he hasn't had to do it because teams typically close out short on him and dare him to shoot. And when he knocks it down, it's like, oh, awesome. But we have seen at Montverde specifically, we did see, flashes of him being a really good connective passer. So it's like, all right, what different way? I'm just really excited to see how his game evolves in the coming years. What it looks like now compared to the end of this season, I'm not entirely sure that we're going to see a drastic change. Maybe outside of, maybe he does shoot 40+% from three on exclusively spot up attempts. And if so, fantastic. But 5 years from now, I'm really fascinated to see, all right, what type of ball skills has he developed? How has his scoring game changed? Who is he defending? I just think his developmental arc over these next handful of years is going to be really fascinating.
I will tell you, and this is obviously just like a sequence or two. This isn't just consistently. When I saw him at that Dame camp for a week, he had a sequence like that where someone tried to run him off, and he put it down, went into the body, and he threw down with a lot of built up anger. And I was like, that's exactly what I want to see. So like it's there. Now I saw him also like get a little wide with his handle, which I was like, I'm expecting. Okay, that's fine. It's okay if you try to go between your legs and lose the ball one time. It's okay. So he's got that stuff. It's in his bag to unlock. Yeah. It is in Pandora's box. You just need to unlock it. And when all that stuff comes together and the frame, I don't, when I'm saying a frame with a guy like that, I'm not like, hey, he needs to be Giannis and gain 40 pounds. No, he just needs to build up the core and put a little bit of weight on. He's going to be a problem. And I just absolutely love what I've seen from him.
Well, someone else I think is going to be a problem is who I'm taking with the 9th overall pick, Ben Seraph. Continues to be very good for Ulm. He might be the best playmaker in this class for me. Insane manipulation. I buy the shot long term. Really good defensive playmaking stuff. We've talked about him a ton. Anything you want to add?
Why is it all the Europe guys are always so awesome with playmaking every year?
So when
I know the answer, I just wanted to say it out loud. It's just funny. Every year we're always like, hey.
Well, I'm curious if you have a different answer because like when I was studying abroad in England in college, I talked to someone, I was talking hoops or something over there, and this kind of came up, and they were like, oh, well, everyone, the people in Europe who really love basketball always have a ball with them. So they're always dribbling or whatever, but they always struggle shooting because there aren't hoops as readily available everywhere like they are in the US. So obviously, I'm old now, so that, I'm sure that's changed since then, but that was the reasoning I got from someone over there.
Are you dancing with the old man story? Like, gosh, that story's so old. Like, you must be old. No, when I coached overseas, the first thing they told me is, we'll never be the athletes that the United States are.
Yeah.
So we have to beat them with our mind. And it was just one of those like, whoa, that hits like a hammer right now. Like, and it made a lot of sense because it is obsessive teaching on fundamentals, angles, reads. Like it is, they will try to beat you with their minds because they just know like you're going to dunk on us. You're going to dunk all great. We have to be better that way. Now, I'm not saying there's not gifted playmakers in the United States, so calm down. But I'm just saying it's always funny with a lot of these prospects coming from overseas. Like we're seeing Demen, we're seeing like Kasparis. We're going to probably talk about Seraph. A lot of guys just really have tremendous feel and poise and control out there. So it's just funny. But yeah, Seraph looks fantastic. He's looks really good.
Yeah. Okay. Pick number 10. Who are you going with?
Oh, he's still on the board? I'm going to go Trey Johnson.
Yeah.
What do you think? What did you think of the first game?
Well, if you really want to know what I thought, you could head over to No Ceiling's YouTube and check out the film breakdown I did on him. Kidding. I'm not kidding. Go
watch it. Go watch it.
Do it. No, I'll talk about him here too. He rocked. There's a lot he needs to clean up and a lot of questions I still have and we'll get into them. I get into them in the video as well, with video examples. Sorry, I'm done. No, he was very, very, very good, and he looked like easily the best player in Texas. Is like all of the good that I've seen in him going back to that FIBA team that him and Asa were the best players on, I thought. To now, all of that good came out in that game, as well as some of the big questions that I've had with him as well. So I just he's fun.
What is I'm curious because this is one I was watching very intently today. What were some of your questions? I thought he looked fantastic. Here, I'll get my positive out of the way. I thought he looked fantastic. Same. I had the same feeling. I was like, this is what I was falling in love with since FIBA. Like, there's a lot of smoothness. He had the typical freshman scoring bucket mentality of just a couple shots where I was like, get that out of there. That's gross. There's also a couple of shots where I think he was just, he's not gonna, but I think there was a couple where it was like a settle, but it was more of like I got that easier probably in high school. And then he had a couple that didn't go in that I really liked his mindset of like going on the block, kind of getting that little turnaround fade away where I was like, that's going to be there. And that's going to be one of his go-to moves.
Yeah.
I thought the playmaking was really nice.
Which it always has been. And
but I know
feel
it
like
just
he's
popped
never
more.
got
It popped more. It was
I
beautiful. He only had 4 assists. You'll look at the box score if you haven't watched them. You'll be like, 4 assists. What are you talking? 3 of them were gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the 4th one was nice. But 3 of them were beautiful reads. So
but his playmaking comes in like a true shooting guard fashion where he uses his shooting and scoring gravity to attack closeouts or kind of manipulate and play like a really high level 2-man game. He reads the floor really well and is a really good passer. He's not going to be your lead guard or anything like that, initiating everything. But when the ball swings to him, there are a lot of different things that he can do to attack and exploit, a scrambling defense, because teams have to close out hard on him because that dude can shoot.
Yeah.
He is a shooter. My concerns or questions, the lack of explosiveness, where physically he plays very much at one speed. He had one mid-range pull-up where he kind of attacked the closeout in the early offense and just like abruptly rose up from the elbow, and it caught the defender off guard. By the time defender challenged it, it was a wide open look and he knocked it down. It's like, okay, that's crafty, that's fun. I'm not totally convinced how sustainable that is because a little later he tried something similar and the defender just hand in his face, couldn't get a clean look. So I do worry about how consistently and effectively he's going to be able to create space on the perimeter and get to the rim. And then defensively, his screen navigation is dog shit. I thought he moved his feet pretty well, like defending in isolation. He had a couple possessions where he walled up Bruce Thornton and forced a kick out and, started talking his shit because he will do that constantly. But then a screen would come and he would take like a 3-foot arc around it and just totally get taken out of the play.
One of my biggest notes was about the athleticism, and it's not him like, is he a good athlete? It is, he had a drive coming around and it was like a play that was like, okay, I'm going to burn this in my brain for the rest of the year because I want to see if this can develop. He had a drive getting downhill and it looked uncertain. Like he didn't know what to do next. And he kind of threw up a floater, but it was not like a clear, I'm shooting a floater here. It was one of those, I don't really know what to do.
It's like, I guess this is going up.
Yeah, it was more of like I don't have a clear runway to try to throw this down. I have defenders closing on me. So I'm throwing an awkward floater up, and I was just like, there's some indecisiveness when you're getting downhill there, the in-between game. That could be an athleticism thing. You got to figure that out, whether it's kind of jumps up on 2 feet and then throw like a controlled floater, or if you're throwing one away of momentum.
And that's where
it's ugly.
But I think the cleanest route to kind of compensating for that is just getting a lot stronger.
Yeah.
Where instead of, these explosive step backs or something, it's more of a crafty throw your shoulder into the guy's chest, little push off into a step back, and you're able to kind of put them in jail a little more effectively. So, he's still really skinny. he's also 18. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't get stronger, because he would be one of the first ever to do that. So, fantastic game. But when you brought up Jacoby Walter earlier, I did worry that this could be the Jacoby Walter of this year, where first month of the season, it's incredible, shooting the crap out of the ball, really dynamic scorer. And then he rises to being the number one guy on the opposing team's scouting report, and things fall apart pretty quickly.
There's definitely some on-ball stuff where I'm a little like, oh, this could get ugly with a good game plan. Like, he's going to have to figure that out, because I think teams will bully him. Teams will try to overpower him.
And I'm really worried that Texas doesn't have the pieces to help him when that happens.
Yeah, that's what the biggest one I'm worried about is what you just said. I watched that game and I said, this could get a little rough for UT this year, because it could get a little rough. I said, if we're leaning on Arthur Kaluma to be the knight in shining armor along Trey, this could get rough. And I do shout out Arthur. I still think he's going to have a heck of a year. I just don't know if we're going to get enough firepower to maybe get up to like that 6-7 spot in the draft. Would I be shocked? Not at all, because he can be an absolute bucket with size. What?
I have him top 10 right now. So currently,
I have him at 6.
It's a long season.
I'm just saying.
5.
Good for you.
Well, it may not age well, but we'll see.
I'm more saying, if he can't, let's put it this way: if he keeps doing that all year, he's a top 5 pick,
of course.
Like, if we're getting that type of production, even like if he's going to be around 16, 17 points a game as a freshman and shooting 3-ball at a high clip, be a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6'5" with length and fluidity, but I just want to see the rest of the stuff come to the surface. And that playmaking, goodness.
Yeah.
That's what really gets me pumped.
Yeah. And going back to my Jacoby Walter concerns, so I don't mean to keep crapping on Jacoby. We're still optimistic. Long career ahead of him. But that's something he didn't have in his game last year either, where it was almost purely scoring. There wasn't that playmaking aspect or component to his game, and that's a really important counter for Trey to have going forward. So, okay, moving on to 11 through 15. But first, we're going to take our last ad break. With the 11th pick, well, I'll run through the top 10 real quick here. So at 1, we went Cooper Flagg, 2, Ace Bailey, 3, Yegor Demon, 4, Dylan Harper, 5, VJ Edgecombe, 6, Nolan Traore, 7, Con Knipple, 8, Asa Newell, 9, Ben Seraph, 10, Trey Johnson. At 11, I'm going to go Kasparas Yakushonis.
Talk to me about Yaku. Can we call him Yaku all year? That's a fantastic nickname. Yaku. What are your thoughts? Now, we need to shout out Ignacio, because Ignacio told us about Yaku last year, and he said, you guys need to start watching this kid. This kid can play.
Yeah.
Wrote at NoCeilingsNBA.com. You guys were reading this stuff. You would have known about him before he even hit the States. So I was very excited with this whole thing. I want him to be awesome, because I'd be like, great, Ignacio is fantastic. I already know this. Shout out Ignacio. What are your thoughts? He had a solid first game, but didn't get the.
I thought he was really good in that first game. Like, he was the straw that stirred the drink. Like, he created so much for that Illinois offense. Loved his on-ball creation. The playmaking was really impressive. Just consistently put guys in position to succeed. He is so strong. Like, all of the strength concerns that we just talked about with Trey, I have 0 of those with Casper. Are we going Kasparas? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Kasparas. Kasper's a good nick. Kasper Yaku. Yaku Kasper.
We'll figure it out. He was just a really, really solid all-around point guard. And we go back to that international playmaking mentality. Game is slower for him. I got those exact same vibes from him there. I got that feeling at Hoop Summit, where I thought he was fantastic. So, yeah, I think he's in for a very, very good year, and it wouldn't totally shock me if he is one of the first point guards off the board on
Would
draft
not
night.
shock me. Let me say something. It's November. I can't even explain. I feel like the Bane when he's getting like injected with the stuff to make him like a beast. Shout out the old Batman movies. How much more excited I am right now about this class than I was at this time last year. And I love the rookie class this year. But there's just so many names we haven't even gotten to that I'm just very excited about. Kasparis is going to be a good one, man. I like how you put that. The straw that stirs the drink. Might have to make a graphic off that. You're cooking with quotes tonight. He
Basketball's back,
just
so am I. Let's
yeah,
go.
exactly. He does seem like that controlled, poised. We were talking about Yegor. Not everyone's freaking out about him, and I was like, Kasparis looked pretty damn good too, and put up some nice numbers. And I think he's gonna not be the flashy version, but he's gonna be solid and be a heck of a prospect in this class too.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to pick number 12. Who you going with?
I'm gonna go with. I got a text today from an NBA guy who said this guy might have the highest upside in the whole class.
You're going early with him. Okay.
Yeah. No, you know what?
Oh, you coward.
No, I'll do it. I'm gonna go Noah Esingwe. Man, I'm just a big fan. I was having a tough day, and then I got that text, and I was just like, things are changing.
How much of this is potential versus current player?
Potential.
So this is
I would be swinging
70% potential for you.
If the boxes, like if he was checking the boxes of like character, what type of worker is he? I'm getting a project. Now in a mock draft, if I'm getting him at 12 and I'm thinking like, hey, he's got all the tools. It just needs time. We need to work with him. We need to be patient. One, I'm probably in a good spot picking 12s because I've probably got a good squad that's on the rise that I can take some time. But that's the one you'd be swinging there. If you're like, hey, down the road, this might be a top 3 player from this class, even a stacked class, I would be taking that there. If I got him later, even better. If I was a team picking twice, you might be taking him earlier in the draft. But there's just so much I've heard about him and the developments I'm seeing, and it's just horrifying if all of the pieces come together. Like he does some stuff on the court that just makes you shake your head. You need patience, and it's going to be a long year to evaluate him because you got to just be really patient. But I think he's thin framed. He's extremely young. Off the top of my head, he might be like right behind Cooper as one of the youngest guys in this class.
I think he turns 18 in December.
Yeah. Cooper does too.
Is Cooper January?
No, I think he's December.
December
I think they both are December. Anyways, I mean, there's a lot of stuff he does right now, and he battles. Like he's thin frame, but he battles on the court. He glides all over. The shot's going quickly in the right direction. I just like a lot of stuff he can do on the court. I think he's versatile too, and two-way versatile, lengthy forward with crazy upside. I would love that. You think that's really early, huh?
He's fallen just a little bit for me. He's like a little closer to 20 than 10 for me right now.
So you hate him.
I exactly. I'm out.
Everyone knows this. You're out.
If he's not top 5, you hate him. I love the team defense. Like the weak side rotations, I think have been really good. The kind of weak side rim protection, I think there's a ton of upside there. There's a lot of potential on ball. It's just a little inconsistent for me right now, where the foot speed's a little slow at times. He's really high hips, so it just makes him a little just inconsistent in that when defending quicker guys on ball, especially when his footwork isn't on point. But again, he's 17. We've been hearing really good things about him for over a year now. Um, so I think that's like his clearest path to like big time development. I buy the shot long term. The base is a little narrow, needs to get stronger in the lower body, yada yada yada. But I think mechanically up top, I think it's taking steps in the right direction. Really good cutter, really good off ball scorer. Just not sure if there's anything there on ball long term.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to, you get a lot of flashes in a lot of areas. So that's why it's going to be so important to watch this stuff. I do love the off ball defense. I think there's some really good instincts and foundation there. The on ball, like, I still think he's figuring out his body. It's just like a real thing. Like, if you've been growing and you're trying to figure out how to play, and I think it's just going to be one of those things where you got to get reps, you got to get time. Like, he's put up impressive production. I think he held his own in those games or in that exhibition with the Blazers. And I know people are like, what are you talking about? I was like, hey, he looked like he belonged out there, and he was easily the youngest guy. So I'm a big buyer. I'm a big believer.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it.
Who you got?
Okay, moving on. Pick number 13. Speaking of potential, I'm gonna go with the guy I still have top 10. Kind of quiet. First game, came off the bench for UNC. I think he had like 5, 2, 2, and 1 or something in like 17 minutes. I'm going Drake Powell. Really, really loved his high school film. And yeah, still think he's in for a big year.
Haven't gotten to that game yet, so I can't give you any feedback, but it's gonna be a wait and see guy for me.
I think North Carolina is still kind of figuring out their rotation too, and how all these pieces fit in. So I think with him and Ian Jackson, it's going to be patient and see what this team looks like in January and February and how things are rolling then. Because I think stylistically, there's a ton of upside for these guys to make a huge impact on their draft stock and just the team and in terms of winning basketball in general.
Yeah, I'm not worried about them at all right now because you got a lot of vets in front of you. Cadeau looked great. RJ Davis, that's Trimble. Like, you're going to have to figure out that rotation, but
yeah,
we'll wait and see what happens. Okay. Trying to also remember all these names that I haven't drafted. I'll go Liam McNeely.
Okay.
Looked better than I was expecting his first game. I love that he got after it with the boards. I'm gonna be patient there because we talked about this in the previous episode, Metcalf. I don't know the potential, the level of potential. I don't know if when people are like, hey, I'm dreaming really big for McNeely, I'm like, is that insane? Or is it more realistic than, like, maybe it's just a guy I don't see. I say every year there's a guy I just don't see it. So I usually have to go scout in person because that's what I prefer anyway. So need to hit the lottery and then go to Connecticut.
See, I thought he looked almost exactly like I thought he would.
Really? Okay. What?
Where like him and Alex Caravan are almost like clones of each other, and it's not just because they're white. But the read and react style they both have, the spot up shooting, the defensive fundamentals, just being in the right place at the right time. There's one time where they both made the exact same cut. I was like, oh, shocker.
Caravan's gonna be fantastic for him.
He looked incredible.
Oh my gosh, he looks so good.
But like just the way that UConn offense operates, I thought he would fit perfectly in, and he's always been a really good rebounder. It's just I'm not sure he's going to give you much in terms of on-ball creation and movement shooting, but as a spot-up threat who can really cut off-ball, crash from the corners, offensive rebound, attack closeouts and create for others out of those situations. I think he's a really, really good player. So he feels like one of these guys who's going to just be good all year, and maybe has like 1 or 2 games where he's like, holy crap, he just went 9 of 11 from 3 and dropped 30. But it also won't surprise me if, once everyone goes through athletic testing and measurements and all that kind of stuff, teams come away a little underwhelmed. He goes middle of the first round and then just kind of has a really good career and outplays wherever he gets drafted.
So that's the inner debate I'm on right now is like, is he just going to be solid all year, which is completely fine, and then end up like you're saying, or is he going to have like a 8-game stretch where I'm going to be like, Liam McNeely's cooking right now, not just like hot from outside, but he's just all over the place. Is there that next level where I'm like, hey, now we're getting into that top 7, top 10 conversation of like, he should be there. I just want to see if that's the level, or if he's going to be, you're getting him at 13 and you're ecstatic that he ends up at the end of the lottery. And like you say, he plays for a long time and is a heck of a piece, but I just want to see the level of the upside. Like where can I measure it at? So go ahead. You're on the board.
Okay. At 15, I'm going with one of my favorites from last year. And I hate that he came back to this team. I'm going Colin Murray-Boyles. Brutal first game for the Gamecocks to drop your opener. But I thought he looked fantastic. Still not shooting. Don't love that. But the rebounding, the defense, the passing, it all looked fantastic. So not worried about him in the slightest. Still think he's easily a top 20 guy. I have him in my lottery to start the year. So very intrigued to see how his offense kind of continues to develop throughout the year.
Yeah, I was a little shocked they lost that first one. I was like, great, good start to the year, boys. But I still want to see. You know, I'm gonna like him. I'm gonna be intrigued. But it's funny when you look at a box score and you're just completely focused on like one thing. And I looked at his the first game and I was like, did you shoot a 3?
No.
Did you at least attempt a 3? Like that was the first thing I kept seeing. And I was like, gosh, just shoot the ball. Like,
yeah.
So I want to see. We'll see. He's gonna like shoot 5 one game, and I'm gonna be like, at least you shot him.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Okay. 16.
Yep.
I can't fight this feeling anymore. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Derek Queen.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
It's early, but I don't even know if it really is. What if he's just incredible?
I'm here for it. I would love that.
20-20 or 22-20 or 20-22. Sometimes whatever. It was fantastic.
One of those. He just,
both of them started with a 2.
He had a 2020 game. There you go.
He had a 2020 game. Lower opponent, completely understand. It's still a 2020 game. And I think people are going to look at him and just be like, oh, he can be a force around the basket. And I can't wait until people realize how good of a passer he is.
Yep.
Like it's scary, some of the passes he makes. So, Metcalf, I don't think this is that early. I think there's a world in which he cooks up this board. Now, let's calm Rucker down for a second. He needs to do this for like 3 or 4 more games, would you say? Before people are getting a little like drunk in love.
Yeah. I would like a little bit more scoring versatility from him. But the fact that he was able to
let him eat down low. Why?
But the fact that he was able to immediately rattle off a 2020 game in his first college game and make it look really easy is encouraging. So I don't expect him to average 2020.
He'd be in the top 4 if he did. I'm trying to see their. You know what's going to happen? I'm trying to see their schedule right now. I want to see. Okay. Here we go, boys and girls. Friday, November 15th. They're at home against Marquette.
Okay.
Cam Jones and Chase Frost are going to make the big man come on out on the perimeter.
Cam
and
Jones is going to cook him in the pick and roll.
He might, but if he doesn't, I would be. That's a Friday game. I would be waiting for those mock drafts on Monday and those big boards. I'm just telling you, he might. I like Cam Jones' odds there, but if he doesn't, things are going to get interesting. I'm just saying he's got to show me a lot. I know he's a beast in the paint. Going back to his days in high school on the, Montverde Monstars. I know all that. But I also know he's a hell of a playmaker. He's got great feel. He's got good hands. If he can show some defensive stuff, big if. I think Derek Queen's going to be a popular name. I also think the shot's a better foundation than we think. I don't think it's horrendous.
Based off of his, one Maryland game, we wouldn't know because he didn't take a jumper.
He didn't need to. Bully ball.
A little concerning.
I'm a fan. I'm just a big fan. I don't think it's that unrealistic for him to be getting up there. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll get you on that island soon.
No, so I'm still a little.
You're window shopping.
I'm lower on him. He just needs to prove it to me. Like, no, sorry, God, that sounded fucking egotistical.
Yeah. Who are you?
God, what the fuck? You get what I'm trying to say, though. But I'm also in that mode of like early season. I try and limit myself on how much I like move guys up, where it's not like, oh, one awesome game against a nobody opponent. Like Todd McShay in his podcast said something I thought made a lot of sense, and something we kind of go off of a lot of scout the matchup, and that matchup couldn't have been more favorable. So
and Kalkbrenner last night had a very favorable. I saw some of the highlights. I was like, was their big 6'3"?
Kinda. But he took a 3-2, so shout out Ryan. But I try and limit myself to only moving guys like 5-ish spots at a time this time of year. So he's still a little lower, but I get it if you love him.
It's just I'm having fun here. I had him top 20 on my preseason board. I'm taking him at 16. Like,
no, that makes sense.
I believe in it. I'm not moving guys up a ton.
No.
I think the only guy I really moved was Yegor. I moved them from like 5 or 6 to 4. Like, I don't really move a ton of guys from the first games, but you just also see guys. Go ahead.
Okay. Pick 17. Going with a guy who also had a monster debut. I'm going Will Riley. I still have a ton of questions with Riley. To put it kindly, he was not my favorite from Hoop Summit, but he skyrocketed up recruiting boards late last year in his senior season. Looks to be a late bloomer, dropped 30 plus, I believe, in his debut. Really shot it really well. Some good scoring versatility, like the off-ball movement. It was so much better than I anticipated his debut would be, but kind of still in that mode of I need to see way more than just one game. But tough to ask for much more from a debut.
Yeah, I completely agree. Had similar vibes coming into the year. I was in wait and see mode. Hell of a first game. Hell of a game. So I was impressed. I just want to see more. Want to see some consistency. But he's starting to buzz. He was buzzing before. Now he's getting the attention of some important people. Okay, I'm up. I'm gonna take a guy I really, really like that I'm probably gonna be as patient as humanly possible this year, but I'm very intrigued. I'm gonna take Donnie Freeman.
Ooh, I like that. I haven't gotten to a Syracuse game yet. Have you been able to catch any of them?
I haven't. I want to watch his. There's certain guys I'm like, hey, I gotta watch pretty seriously early on, and like, hey, I'm watching all those guys seriously. But like with someone like Donnie, where I'm like, hey, there's going to be growing pains this year. I need to do your checkups throughout the year and see what areas have kind of blossomed and where do we still need some work in progress. So I haven't watched the first game. It's actually what I'm planning on doing right after this. Very intrigued though with the tools.
Yeah.
Just want to see the consistency, but he has all the tools to be like, I feel the way about Noah, like Donnie's probably behind that, but I think there's a little bit more offensive weaponry with his outside shot. I think the defense is legit instincts, like valuable weapon. So
springy,
very fluid. So I'm just a fan. I just want to see.
All right. The
You
19th,
like him too, then, huh?
I do. I have him top 20 currently, but
Good. Like that.
he feels very much like that kind of wild card from this group where it's like, all right, are you going to emerge as like a Tijane Saloon from last year, or are you just going to be like really inconsistent but toolsy and go back and have a big sophomore year?
I have a question for you later, but I'll get to it very shortly. I promise.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. I'll get to it very soon.
Wow, what a tease! Oh my
Yeah.
god, that's how the pros do it. All right, the 19th pick. I'm just going top player on my board. I'm going Ian Jackson.
Good one. I don't have a lot of notes on Ian. I'm
neither do
still
I.
in wait
We've
and
talked
see
about him a
mode.
ton.
Yeah.
Previous episodes too. So I think he's going to be another one of these guys. Just gets better throughout the year. So, and at 19, sign me up. All right, pick number 20. Who you going with?
You know what? I lied. I'm gonna go with one more player before then I get to the tease. I'm gonna take Hugo.
Okay.
How are you feeling about Hugo?
Underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed because of playing time and what you're seeing on the court, or just
Yes.
the annoying Europe thing where he's playing with a good club and can't
No,
always get
it's more
minutes?
so like when he's gotten opportunities, it's like you're not really forcing the coach to play you here. Um, I don't, it just looks like
Interesting.
he can't get in a groove. And you know it's tough when you're in that situation where, God, that Real Madrid team is stacked. So he's barely. It's tough for young guys to get minutes in that league, anyways. So the fact that he's getting some occasional spot minutes, he's had a couple games where he's gotten into the double digits. But even in those, it just I never come away like there he is. There's the guy from FIBA U18 or whatever competition. It's always just like,
Which is tough because I also think when you're
and he
you're
was a
the
guy
guy.
I was thinking could be top 5 a month ago, but now 5
Well,
6 games of his in.
when you're the guy and you could find a groove, and then all of a sudden you get those extended minutes and you're like, okay, now I can get my spots. Here we go. Like when you're then all of a sudden playing limited run, you got to learn how to find that groove quick.
Yeah.
And I think that's a skill that people don't really realize is like if you can be those microwave options off the bench where like you can get in a game and just get hot quick, like take over. Some guys have to like play minutes to get,
Yeah.
So I think that's a whole nother ball game he's gonna have to learn. And I don't know. I just getting him if I'm getting him at what 19?
Yes.
20. No, you just picked at 19. You took Ian. So I took him at 20.
Yeah. I would be more than
pumped.
happy to get him here.
But we kind of felt like last year we're like, hey, Hugo could be a top 6 pick. But
yeah,
it seems like we're far away from there.
Long season.
Go ahead.
Okay. Moving
We're
on to pick 21. Just to recap the top 20 real quick for any newcomers. And shout out everyone watching live over on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Really you guys rock. At number 1, Cooper Flagg. 2, Ace Bailey. 3, Yegor Demon. I'm going to stumble over that name.
Yegor
Demon. At 3, 4, Dylan Harper. 5, VJ Edgecombe. 6, Nolan Traore. 7, Con Knippel. 8, Asa Newell. 9, Ben Seraph. 10, Trey Johnson. 11, Kasparis Yakushonis. 12, Noah Senge. 13, Drake Powell. 14, Liam McNeely. 15, Colin Murray Boyles. 16, Derek Queen. 17, Will Riley. 18, Donnie Freeman. 19, Ian Jackson. 20, Hugo Gonzalez. And at 21, going with my heart because it's November, Boogie Fland.
Good. It's a good
one.
I
love him. That dude knows how to defend. His point of attack defense is rapidly becoming one of my favorite, like, specific skill sets in this class. Love the interior and mid-range scoring. think he's a good passer, not necessarily an elite playmaker.
I think the passing's pretty good, right?
I think it's good, but like when we talk about some of the other playmakers in this class, I think he's a tier below.
Oh,
Like,
for sure. For
like
sure.
Kasparis, Yegor,
For sure.
Dylan, Seraph. He's not up there, but like he's a good passer. The outside shot is still going to be a big question for me. Opener, I think it was like 1 of 8 or something from outside, but everything seemed online. It was just short, which was annoying.
Sounds like me in the gym.
Yeah, no, but like short, like hitting the rim still, not like
Thank you.
4 feet.
Didn't need to include that part. It's like, hey, it looks good, just doesn't go in. Mine looks bad, it doesn't go in.
Okay, so since I feel like pissing you off, if I say skinny Case and Wallace, you say what?
I'm in.
Okay.
Well, if skinny Case and Wallace, I'm saying what team, what fit. That's the proper answer. No, I like Boogie. I want to see how the offensive game comes around. Like, probably want to see just kind of the in between game when it comes to like driving, finishing. If that's consistent throughout the year, I think. But I'm not worried about Boogie getting his shot. I think he can be a pull up guy, and I think if he's consistently shooting it from 3. At some point, we get a good little stretch. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But his defense is what I think slept on is probably not the right phrase, but doesn't get enough spotlight.
Unappreciated.
His defense is unappreciated. Thank you, Mr. Metcalf, mad scientist, Tyler Metcalf. Yeah, I'm a big Boogie Nights fan. The movie and the player. I'm a big Boogie fan. Is going to be one of the guys. I've got him at 17 right now.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah.
15 for me. Love that. Okay. Pick number 22. Who are you going with?
Call me Evans.
Love that from you.
I'm doing a blind leap of faith. I have not watched the Oregon game.
Yeah.
I have seen the box score of the Oregon game. The Oregon game will be on my TV in 2 hours. I'm very excited for it. I've been playing it on it ever since I saw the box score. And I'm not just – I had him in this wheelhouse preseason. I was very eager for the jump. I'm excited. I will report on the line after I watch the film tonight to see if I was crazy or if I was too low. It's a great start. Now, we saw some of these teases last year, so I want to see if we can get a couple games like this and get some consistency, but he's going to end up being one of these guys, Metcalf, that I think playoff teams are drooling that he's just like, be there in the end of the first, be there in the 20s, like, because he's just that versatility on both sides.
And his defense last year was nasty. He was a really good defender.
I think he could have gone first round last year.
I believe I had a first round grade or very, very early second on him before he withdrew. Because I've always bought the shot. It just hasn't gone in. But man, 20, what did he have? 23 on 8 of 15 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, 5 of 5 from the line with 6 boards. Not a bad start.
I mean, he just turned 20 in August. He's going to be the Swiss Army knife he's going to be one of those guys that just plays a super long time and makes a lot of money at the NBA level. If he could shoot it too. If he could shoot it, he's going to get paid because he's just going to be this lineup chaos factor that you could just be like, okay, we could play Kwame all over the place and he's switchable and he can hold his own. Then he could step out and be a pick and roll threat. I feel like his playmaking also was like sort of coming along a little bit. Like, I don't know. I'm a big fan, big believer.
Big fan. Someone else I'm a big fan of and who I'm taking at the 23rd pick is Nick Clifford from Colorado State.
Oh, that was my next pick.
I was super bummed that he withdrew last year. God damn, did he look good in that first game.
Okay, talk to me about Nick.
Let me
What
pull up
looked better?
what didn't. That's a real question.
My phone was blowing up with Neat Clifford praise, and I was like, guys, I was working on graphics. I was like, I can't be distracted right now. I will get to the Neat game Friday. I know he looked great.
So
It's Neat.
the defense was what it was all last year. I thought it was very solid. The shot looked good. But it was like the passing and that kind of off-ball creation with the cutting, attacking closeouts. It was more of what we saw in that Virginia game in the tournament, where he was, attacking closeouts, attacking rotating defenses, driving, dumping off to cutters, finding cutters from the perimeter, being that really high-level connective passer, not a playmaker. He's not out there creating his own shot consistently or running the pick and roll and stuff like that, but he's finding the open man. He's making quick decisions, and he's just playing really efficient basketball on both ends of the floor. And in the 20s, if I can get a kind of ready-made role player, sign me the hell up. And he currently reminds me of kind of like Christian Brown, Aaron Wiggins type of wing, where they're going to defend guys at a high level. They're going to do their job. They're going to provide some connective passing and knock down open shots when they need to. So it's not going to be big time volume scores, but they just kind of fill in the gaps.
Where do you have them?
20.
Good. I have him at 26. I will be honest, part of the reason I haven't watched the game, terrified of what I'm about to do to put with him on my board. Terrified. Because he is, we said this in a previous, maybe 2 or 3 pod episodes ago. We were talking about Neek, and I said if he's shooting, if the 3-point shot is consistent this year, he's going to have teams lining up because he's everything you want in a 3-and-D. Now, if what you're talking about is like the playmaking's taking that next leap, the game's slowing down, like this could get dangerous. I don't care how old he is. Like, this could get dangerous because he's checking a lot of boxes. His frame's good. He's got length. His defensive instincts are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm watching Ryan Dunn right now in the NBA. And if he should, like, and Neek is a much better shooter than Dunn was.
Yeah. So
he's gifted offensively, like, really good playmaker.
Yeah, and he finished with 20 points on 9 of 12 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, 0 of 4 from the line, which you don't love. But 14 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block.
The 0 of 4 caught me. I was like, what?
Yeah, don't love that.
Pretty usually solid there. So yeah, I'm just one of my favorite. He's got that special defensive tape.
Yeah,
like he's gonna be. I'm probably gonna do a video soon. Metcalf's just been kicking ass with those videos. I gotta join him in on that mix. I'm loading right now. Okay, you stole my pick, so I'm up at 24.
Correct.
This would probably be a Thunder pick. I just could say that about like 5 picks at this drop. It's probably going to the Thunder somehow. 24.
No, they'll have traded up to pick number 3 for
Derek Queen. Jaeger and Topic. Oh gosh. I'm gonna go. I'll go Jaleel Bethea.
Okay.
Miami. Haven't done the deep dive yet, but still got him there. I'll be honest, there's a lot of guys coming up right now that I'm gonna pick that I haven't done the deep dive, so this conversation could change a little bit. It's been a week. No, seriously, folks. It's been a week. Slept about 4 hours total, but it's been a week.
Oh,
shout out to Nick.
Yeah,
shout out to Nick Johnson, who's just been an animal this week. Go ahead.
Okay. I haven't gotten to any Miami games yet, so
yeah,
I'm a little lower on Bethea, but you've seen more of him than I have. We talked about him, I think, an episode or 2 ago. Go check that out.
I'm getting it in here. I'm pretty pumped.
Okay. Pick number 25. I'm going Alex Caravan. Oh, I don't know why I stumbled over Alex like that. Alex Caravan, small forward from UConn. Power forward, small forward.
Forward.
Hell of a first game from him. He had like 8 blocks. I think he finished with a 5x4. Not bad. Shot the crap out of it. Was perfect through like 2/3 or 3/4 of the game. If his shooting is really taking that leap where he's always been a good shooter, but now if he's going to be a great shooter and being even more impactful on defense, he's always moved his feet well. He's always been in the right spot. But if now he's kind of generating defensive plays and being that defensive playmaker, that is a huge, 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 huge leap in his game. And kind of similar to what I was talking about with Neek, where you can kind of slide him into a rotation pretty early on, and he's going to be able to hold his own. So he looked really confident, really comfortable. And he was someone I thought could have gone in this range in last year's draft, but decided to return. So, and he's looking fantastic. One game in.
It's a little funny. We've got 3 of our last 4 picks were returners.
Mm-hmm.
So this tells you there's some exciting stuff with those guys. I'm going to go, and I also think all of them could go earlier than this. I think they're all going to have good years. I'm going to go with, I think our G League season's starting tomorrow. I'm going to go a little Dink Pate here.
Oh,
I'm very, very excited to watch him.
Yeah.
This year. You forget, when there's always that prospect, you have to remind, like, oh, he's bigger than I thought. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had this where, like, I always think someone's like 3 inches shorter than they are. And then I go, he's 6'8"? Like, he's listed, it's like, what? Like, I always thought Dink Pate was like 6'4", 6'5". Oh, he's this point guard with size. And like, he's 6'8", and I swear every year it happens with like a player where I'm like, oh, he's bigger than I thought. I just think there's a lot of raw tools that I'm like, I want to see. I know he was at Dame's like pro camp thing before Formula Zero. So he's been working, he's been grinding. I want to see just how it looks this year. I'm pretty excited to see him. I think he could be a little bit of a party crasher in this class and go up some. So that's all I got.
Cool. No, I feel like we didn't get a healthy dosage of him. Last year, and I'm excited to see him really take that leap.
We had everyone begging on the line that Dink would get approved, that the NBA would change a rule for Dink so he could enter last year's draft. I was like, they're not going to change it.
Probably not,
guys. Probably not going to work.
Well, someone who doesn't need a rule changed for him.
Great transition.
With the 27th pick, Princeton point guard Xavier Lee.
That's a good one.
He rocks. He's so good, and he looks bigger and stronger this year too.
He's gonna be a very fun one. If you haven't watched him, if you're listening to this or you're on the line with us on YouTube, go watch it. He will shock you. If you haven't watched him, like the first time I watched one of his games last year, I was like, oh, he can move like this and he can get separation like this, and he's 6'4". Like, he's fun. And I was pumped to see that first production. I was like, yeah, here we go. Oh man. All right.
Okay. Pick number 28. Who are you selecting?
I'm gonna go with Maluch from Duke.
For the record, I believe that's not how you pronounce his name.
I know, but I like to say Maluch. It's Malik, right?
I believe so.
Is it Malik?
I've heard 3 different pronunciations.
Well, what's the third one?
Maluak.
I think Maluak might be right. Maluak. Is it? Come on, Maluak.
It's one of them. We'll get it down by.
No, I apologize. If you haven't heard last episode, we were making an inside joke. I said Maluch sounds cooler. Maluak actually sounds badass. Whatever his name is cool. So whatever.
Come on,
figure it out.
The man. Come on.
He's so puzzling to me. He's gigantic. He is a space eater.
Yeah.
Got vines for arms. And he does my favorite thing with the rim protector. He pulls the Kevin Garnett, like I'm going to swat it into the second set, like 18 rows back. Plays passionate. I just want to be patient this year because I want to see if there's a little bit more offensive game with like his hands and any feel around the basket. I like a lot of stuff. Yes, he's humongous. He's a great lob threat. Plays hard. I just want to see what's the level of like, hey, where am I buying in? Is it earlier? Is it I'm getting ecstatic to get a little bit of a raw project here with defensive potential upside? I think just want to see some more stuff other than like, hey, it's easy to look really good off the ball when you have Cooper Flag and you're playing the lower ranked teams. I want to see what it looks like against these, conference teams and big time matchups. I think they got one coming up soon, right? You got one of those classics coming up.
Yeah, I believe so. Are they in? They're playing in New York soon, aren't they?
I think so. We got the Atlanta one's coming up soon.
Let's see. Yeah, they have Kentucky on the 12th,
Kentucky.
Arizona on the 22nd, Kansas right after that on the 26th, Auburn on December 4th. Yeah, and then they get into ACC play. So yeah, there'll be plenty of opportunities for that. Okay, pick 29. All right. It's probably a little rich right now.
Oh.
But I really liked his debut. His teammate got all the shine, got all the love. I'm going Cannon Catchings.
Just I'm a big fan. Yeah. I wrote about him from my Formula Zero recap. Huge fan. It's either he's either a one and done guy or he's a sophomore. Everyone buckle up. He's going to break out. He's very fun on the court. His frame person is
huge.
He's gigantic in person, and it hasn't like ballooned yet. It hasn't filled out yet, which is terrifying. Like if he fills out, he's going to be a problem. There's really good raw stuff. He was at that camp. He was with Asa. It's like there's not that much difference in height, and there's also just Hugh vines, and I'm like, that's great frame to build on. So it's a lot of really good stuff. I liked what I've heard behind the scenes. I think it's just a player that's needs to keep developing confidence. And Jaegor's going to be a fantastic person for him to get some good shots. So that's a good pick.
Just especially with how active he was off ball. I thought his cutting, relocation, all that kind of stuff was really, really good. And if he keeps that up, Jaegor's going to find him every single time. So, okay. Wrap this up. Pick 30. Who you going with?
Kind of stole my pick. This pissed me off. Man, this actually is a little tough because am I just banking on? Can I just run through some names that I'm like, hey, I would have probably considered him here, but I was just a little disappointed. Hunter Salas had another rough one tonight. I would have
haven't gotten
kind of getting. I don't like that start we had to the year. Krivas, I haven't watched from Arizona. I like him a lot. I haven't watched him yet, so I don't really. I want to get something a little bit more fun. You took my catching sleeper pick.
Did any of the Alabama guys pop for you? I haven't been able to get to their game yet.
I'm a big Darian Reed fan. I haven't watched the game yet. I think he's going to be one of those guys I really, really like a lot. I was very intrigued with this stuff. I'll just go. I'll think with my head here. I'm going to take Carter Bryant.
Okay.
I still like what I've seen from Arizona's preseason stuff. I've still like what I've seen of his game. I think he's going to be a little bit of a late riser. Just gets better with time throughout the year.
Love that. Yeah, I'm back-to-back years of being super impressed with Carter at Hoop Summit. Works his ass off. Excited to watch those Arizona games. Just kind of falling through the cracks for me with having a billion freaking games in 2 days. And shout out Dirty Dancer in the comments saying Omaha Blue has been very good, which we absolutely adore to hear. So just another
Don't
reason
give me hope.
God, last year was such a tease, and then just the worst. But new context always means or can change everything. All right, so that rounds out first round. Just to run through it real quick. Cooper Flag at 1, Ace Bailey at 2, Yegor Demon at 3, Dylan Harper at 4, VJ Edgecombe at 5, Nolan Traore at 6, Con Knippel at 7, Asa Newell at 8, Ben Seraph at 9, Trey Johnson at 10, Kasparis Yakushonis at 11, Noah Senge at 12, Drake Powell at 13, Liam McNeely at 14, Colin Murray Boyles at 15, Derek Queen at 16, Will Riley at 17, Donnie Freeman at 18, Ian Jackson at 19, Hugo Gonzalez at 20, Boogie Fland at 21, Kwame Evans at 22, Neek Clifford at 23, Jaleel Bethia at 24, Alex Caravan 25, Dink Pate 26, Xavier Lee 27, Kaman Malawak 28, Cannon Catchings 29, Carter Bryant 30. Whew.
Perfect mock, no notes. Just put teams in front of them and they're fine.
Yeah. And, again, just for clarification, this is the mock draft of us two idiots, not No Ceilings Collective. We'll have one up on the site, noceilingsnba.com. Go subscribe. In the nearish future, next couple of weeks, we'll get to it. But that is
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That is officially all for the mock draft. But that just means it's green room time, baby.
I didn't know you were going to put the banner. That's fantastic.
It's
making a one.
And it's the No Ceilings green room. College basketball's back, which means the green room was open. For those of you new to the show, the No Ceilings green room is the most exclusive club in the basketball world. Only 14 guys get in. No more. It is not our lottery rankings. It is based on production, vibes, potential, vibes, aura, as the kids are saying. Oh,
stop. You can't make us that old. You cannot make us that old. That is awful. Cannot do that again. We have to get rid of that. I did that last year. I said I'm okay. So I had my moment last year. You just had your moment now. I said like he is him last year, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm like in the podcast. So okay, we're even. Everybody gets one.
Okay. But as we do this, we're going to do it throughout the year. So we're not doing all 14 tonight. We're going to only one guy will get admitted tonight, and then we'll both nominate a person each to be in line, and we'll go from there, build on it. Guys can get admitted. They can also get booted. So like last year, Donovan Klingen was in and out of the green room because of his foot injuries, where we can't have someone walking around in crutches. It clogs things up. It's kind of a buzzkill. No one loves it. It's a pain for him to be there. So he had to go. Once he got healthy and started playing again, right back in. So it's a fluid situation. But Rucker, first nominee or entrant for this year. Is this the easiest one we've had in? Well, I guess Victor was pretty easy, but Cooper Flag, welcome to the party.
I'm going to nominate someone else.
Oh, okay.
Yegor.
Yeah, just straight in.
Why not? He's buzzing. He's the talk of the town. We got to keep everybody on their toes. Is this what the green room's all about? Does he deserve it more than anyone, or is this just we're rolling with a hot hand?
Man.
I think it's like he's the talk of the town, so like he's just, oh my gosh, we're trying to have a heck of a night, with business is a little dead. We're like, hey, if we get Yegor in here, this place is gonna go nuts. People will be buzzing, get lines around the corner. Is Cooper too easy?
So what would be more appealing in terms of a club aspect for being the first person, the biggest name on campus that everyone's been talking about for years in Cooper Flag, or the mysterious new Russian dude in the corner in a booth with his guys?
I don't know. If you asked me that question a week ago, I would have been like, well, the biggest man on campus. Right now, I'll be like, everyone is talking about, but also like, could he be, could after a couple hours that people be like, hey, we're over this. Could next week could he have a bad follow-up game? And then it's like, well, let's go to another club.
Exactly. So I think you got to get, I think you have to get the main event in the building right away.
The main event. I like that. Okay.
All right. Cooper Flag.
Capture the flag. We captured. Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag in the building. All right. So then for first in line, I'm guessing your nominee is Yegor.
Well, yeah, I was gonna think about Ace, but he's hurt.
Yeah, I just
so we can't have him in
same
line.
Thing.
And I don't think anybody else has earned the first in line. Derek Queen.
Well, we get to both nominate someone for line, and it's
Derek Queen's an incredible.
It's your pick, so I'm
gonna go Yegor.
Okay, for in line.
Because Derek Queen, I can't. It's the same reason. We can't just you had a good game. You're in line. No, you gotta earn a little bit more. Yegor was buzzing before, so he gets the line nominee for me.
Perfect. My nominee is going to be Asa Newell.
Very good line.
That's a hell of a line. I'm already more excited about this.
Let me make a graphic. Yeah, me too. I'm gonna make a graphic. I got an idea for a new green room graphic, which means I start it and I hate it, throw it away.
We never see it.
Never see it. I'm gonna force myself to figure it out. But that's a good one. I like that.
All right, cool. We will be updating this weekly, revisiting it. Some weeks will be a little more eventful than others. I will do my best not to use the word aura again. But this was a blast. Mock drafts are always the best. College basketball is back. What a wonderful time to be alive.
What a great time.
And this draft class looks very, very fun. So make sure to hang out with us all year. We got stuff going up daily over at NoCeilingsNBA.com. Recently, we've been having multiple things go up daily over at NBA.com. It has been a loaded slate over there. Go check out our rookie scale big board where we're ranking young players in the NBA based on current production, along with long-term upside. So it's like our version of an NBA big board, factoring in potential and how these guys can continue to grow as well. But it's constructed like a composite board, like our composite boards for the draft class. We had a lot of fun doing it. It was way more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So go check that out. Rucker just wrote an awesome piece today on why we should be hyped about this class. Very good. Go check that out. Earlier in the week for No Ceilings Plus members, I wrote about Jaden Ivey's breakout and why it's been very real and feeling very sustainable. Ran through a bunch of numbers with him. Also did a bunch of video breakdowns on him, Trey Johnson, and a whole bunch of other guys over on the YouTube channel. Go check it out. But for now, he is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at TMetcalf11. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, see ya.